Hello, my friends. Today I have a very nice guest, astrologer from Bulgaria. She's a specialist to Babylonian way of looking on the sky, Babylonian astrology, sidereal also called, and we are going to discuss about many different scenarios that are going to be our theme during the coming year. And this is still a lot to expect, as this 2020 already since the first days offered us a lot of changes. We are already feeling it. Hello, Krasi.
Hello, Osher. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Osher.
You're welcome. Very pleasure to have you here with me. We already discussed previous to this, and we're going to share some of our wisdoms looking on the sky, in the sky, the planets, and you are watching things that Western astrology is not considering. The Babylonian approach is very much considering the stars and not just the planets, and giving us a lot of other indications. So tell us about what you are doing.
I will tell you the Babylonian approach. First, I'm quite connected because I used to study the language, the cuneiform language, the Akkadian, that they used to, they would write on cuneiform tablets, and this is the special language. So I feel very much connected with this because of the astrology. But what is the Babylonian astrology? It comes from the first Hermes. It's Hermetic astrology, and it comes before the Big Flood, 5,500 years BC, and it is believed, there is a text found on cuneiform that the first Hermes, he was called King Enmeduranki. He lived in the area where you had the Black Sea still as a sweet lake. So it was before the flood, and he was introduced to astrology via enlightenment, divination. He was uplifted by the gods, and he was given the knowledge of astrology, of divination, mathematics, astrology. Yeah.
Does it belong to Anunnakis? Maybe they learned it from the Anunnakis?
Oh, of course. These were the times when the Anunnakis were, of course, yes. Yeah. It came from the gods. So was Hermes uplifted on a throne of cedar. He was given a rod, and he was given by the god Shamash, the sun god, and the god Adat, the storm god. He was actually uplifted, and he was given the knowledge of astrology, mathematics, how to read on animal liver, and all this.
Who was Shamash?
The sun god.
And you know how we say in Hebrew?
Yeah, Shamash. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, sun.
Of course.
Yeah. So interesting that a lot of things arrive from this Babylonian area. So yeah, we will have a pleasure to discuss about this ancient approach and to see how it's also come aligned with what Western astrology is showing. And we will try to focus it also on what is happening in the world and geopolitic-wise and society on Earth and economically to protect them. So what you are doing, how you are helping people, because you told me about the talisman.
The Babylonian, yes, of course, it's all astrology. And the Babylonian astrology is live. We are not limited in the computer program. You really need to watch the sky. For example, we have eclipses, and we will be talking with you about eclipses, but it is important from which side the moon or the sun will be darkened. They would look at everything live, like the astrologer was like a priest, and he would go out and he would be looking at every phenomenon, and they would have diaries which are found now. These are the astronomical diaries, and they would record every phenomenon, and they would have their statistics, and they were just brilliant, literally brilliant. We still use.
So how your work is?
Well, my work is like I do my predictions based on these ancient texts, sidereal, astronomical. What is sidereal meaning for those of the people that are watching and that don't know? It's purely astronomical. Like the Vedic astrologers would use similar approach, not the same, but it's similar. So what I do is this: I literally would look at the astronomical sky, the fixed stars, the heliacal phases, which would be the moments when a planet is becoming visible for the first time or is disappearing in the rays of the sun. So every phenomenon that we could see, we would take into consideration. Yeah, I just do like you, Osher. I make my horoscopes for people. I make my predictions. Well, I am not financial astrologer. You're brilliant with your work. I am not financial astrologer. I just do, I'm more into divination, which would say that I do based on people's horoscopes. I make amulets and talismans as remedies or as something that people want to achieve. For example, you come into me and you say, I would like to improve my financial status. I would then look at your horoscope and I would propose a talisman which is made according to the specific situation on the sky. And the talismans...
Explain what talismans are.
Talismans, for example, every planet has certain stone that the planet rules. It's a herb, it would be metal, it would be, and we know that the planets are having these divinities, which are actually like principles, which are ruling the planets. They carry the principle, the energy of the planets. And then at the moment when the planet is at highest of its dignities, I am then making piece of jewelry, because in ancient times, take the Greek times, take the Roman times, take Vedic times, people wouldn't wear jewelry for beauty. The crowns would have the gemstones not for beauty. They were all consecrated at a specific moment, and they would be used for power or for achieving something. So I would follow their pattern, and I'm gathering my herbs in the moment when, for example, if I would make Venus talismans, I am gathering herbs when it's a Venus hour, and so on and so on. And then I'm collecting, I'm collecting for long gemstones, and then the jeweler is making the piece of jewelry. And then at the moment when the sky is appropriate, it includes, of course, fasting 10 days in advance, because I'm invoking the divinity which is ruling the planet or the star. And then I create, following the same tradition, only benevolent astrological magic talismans. It's a magic.
So it's a magic, using astrology as a magic to take advantage of the planet location and timing and combine it with the energy of the stone or the herb, and creating a sort of a beautiful jewelry that a person is strengthening. Amazingly, yeah, there are a lot of things that we can use to our favor, and as all related to the sun, the source of energy. So
yes,
what is your impression, how your approach through your own observation since 2020 started, and we saw that is definitely a new era, a new timeline that we are seeing in the world, how you watched, or what indicators, mentioning the fixed stars also, showed such pandemic or all these things that is happening right now?
See, it was very interesting. We spoke, see this here, many methods work. I saw how you were predicting these events, your methods, how they worked. I will give you my Babylonian approach. Now, first we would, for every, well, we follow, like I mentioned, the heliacal phases of the planet. So what is this? For a certain period, the planet is hiding in the rays of the sun. So the nature of the planet is changing, the principle. We all say this combust. It's combust indeed. But then, like if you take Venus, combust. Like when the planet is invisible, because a planet goes too close to the sun and becomes invisible. Mm-hmm. So, and then the planet is rising again from the rays of the sun at one point. And you have very specific roads on the sky, or highways. Joke, I'm saying a bit more illustrative way, but you have the three paths of the sky of the three gods: the path of Anu, the path of Ea, and the path of Enlil. These are the three paths on the sky. So based on ancient Babylonian calendar, you see there are strict positions where the planets should rise. If there is a deviation, trouble can come, or something can come. So if there is a deviation.
What do you mean deviation?
Deviation, change in the path, change in the expected transit, appearance of the planet. So this is one thing which is to be watched.
Something I want to understand, because we have all the application that we know exactly the path of each planet. How you can, I understand that the Babylonians didn't have telescopes and maybe they had another tools. So they, based on their eyes, if it's visible or not visible. But from approach of, with the apps we have today and the software, we can see exactly where the path will happen and how it will be visible or invisible from each place in the world, no?
Yes and no. Let me tell you. The priest astrologer is watching with the naked eye and is measuring distances with his finger. You measure the centimeters. This finger, my finger, let's say, would correspond to 1 degree on the sky, right? You're measuring like this. And this is give you approximate information. But what the contemporary astrology cannot do is cannot predict, doesn't have algorithm, neither the astronomy, to say when exactly a star is becoming visible. These are very specific algorithms which actually only can be seen if you really watch. And I will give you an example how they would do it. There is this so-known king Sargon the Great who lived, I think, 4,000 years ago, 2000 BC or something. And Sargon would have this ziggurat, you know, the temple, and in the middle they would have this tower, and they would just climb and watch with naked eye, and whatever they see, they would put in the diaries.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So how it's, okay, they saw in naked eye, I understand. The technique less important, but how today that you have all the technology to measure exactly where a planet will be visible or not, you sometimes don't know. Depends if it's going to be.
I use astronomical software, Astrological, which is considered good. It's by very old, like in the 60s, astrologer who made this, Scott, who made this software. But also, you need to watch the sky. You do have a software, but you need to watch the sky. For example, my program, take 2008. What happened in 2008, just before Venus was supposed to become visible? And you see every program is telling now Venus is combust, invisible, and like soon Venus should become visible. She was late with 40 days. And what happened? You got the biggest crisis, financial, which you know. Of course, you were able to predict this with your financial astrological knowledge. But if you would only look at Venus, you already have enough information that there will be a crisis. Now, for example, Venus is hiding in the rays of the sun. Well, where and how she's appearing will depend on your territory. Like I am in Europe, you are in the other part of the planet. Obviously, there will be difference, but you see the expected timeline. And if she's really late, guess what? We are in trouble.
Just a second. If Venus becomes visible in Europe, invisible in Europe, and here in Argentina, it's visible. So what that means from your point of view?
Well, we shouldn't look at as a single factor, but she's always for a certain period invisible, always, every year. Every year she becomes invisible. She makes this, inferior conjunction, and she's in front of the sun, then she becomes a retrograde invisible, then another conjunction. So she is always, and not very rare, to become invisible. So if she's visible here for me, for you it will be just another timeline of invisibility, but we're following the same pattern of Venus, quite predictive. Venus on the sky is drawing with her motion the pentagram, the well-known pentagram, where she's appearing always on the very same times, and she's drawing every certain period. Yeah. So if for me, for my territory,
we are following the sun, and because when it's day, it's night there, it's day here. So obviously I will not see Venus if it's next to the sun. You should see it in the first hours of the rising of the sun. Okay, I understood.
Yes. So the thing is that these are important factors just to consider. What I'm telling you is that for everyone, also for the Western astrology, it would be great to reconnect, and watch. Like you, for example, you financial astrologer, if you would also look at Venus, she will tell you a lot now.
So what is your insight about Venus that is just stationing right now in the sky and ready to retrograde in 3 days? We are recording this video today, May 10, 2020. So Venus is going to start the retrograde. Tell me from your point of view about the visibility, what's the scenario for the coming month with Venus?
I would tell you once again, I'm not financial astrologer, but I'm never afraid from Venus when retro, when stationary, also not. This is not a big deal. This can noticed is that, for example, if the markets go in certain directions, I noticed that this can, for a moment, switch and make kind of, like you say, correction. But this is also not forever. I mean, these are temporary corrections from fast to fast, right? So but to tell you honestly, I think it's exaggerated the importance of retrograde Venus. I think Venus and Jupiter, from my perspective, and also when you follow the mythological stories, take the Greek, any mythological story, I don't think Venus can be ever bad. She can be more revisiting, indeed, revisiting our financial approach, revisiting relationships, revisiting, this is how I see it. I am more worried from the period when she will be hidden in the rays of the sun, when she will become invisible. Then we miss her. This is, approximately. Yes, approximately. I can change later for your longitudes, but take the States, because we're speaking English and probably most of the people who are watching you are from the States. If we take the States, this will be 30th May until 9 or 10 of June. She will be...
Let me repeat. From May 30th, which is exactly the day that she starts to be retrograde, until June 9th, which is my birthday, is going to be invisible. And from June 9th, will start to be visible. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay. So these 10 days, watch Osher, we'll watch together how this will influence the life of people. And we need to watch, because now she's an evening star. She's turning retrograde after she's hidden in the rays of the sun, when she becomes invisible. Her appearance will be different. She's appearing as a morning star. Very different, because then she's different principle, different divinity is ruling her. It's like another Venus is coming into life. Now she's Aphrodite. Now she's in Babylon. She was Inanna from Uruk. Now, when she's...
Just a second, I'm curious. When Venus is an evening star, the definition to it is Aphrodite.
Yeah,
because the Greek are calling Venus in general Aphrodite. Okay, so, and when she's a morning star, what's the name of Venus?
Athena Pallas. Athena.
because Athena Palace, which is also Athens, Athena, is is also about there is an asteroid, Athena Palace, no?
I am not good with the asteroids. You are good with them. You tell us later about the asteroids.
Okay. So what's the difference right now? First of all, what will happen, according to your view, what will happen on those days that Venus will be invisible? To your understanding, what should we expect invisible Venus?
No, not whatsoever help when it comes to finances and love. She's gone. The goddess of love is gone. What is she doing though? Is very important. Aphrodite is gone. Where is she going? She's going into the netherworld, into the underworld, and she's turning into another divinity. And this divinity is Ereshkigal, or this divinity is Persephone, which is very different. She's female divinity. But she's a witch. She's a magician. She's very different. She's romantic, very sexual, but she's not helping the love life of people. So if people start relationship, get married, start business, this is not good. It can lead to failure or to non-success, so to say.
So this has come along together, first of all, with the assumption that guiding people with the Western astrology, that Venus retrograde, exactly from the date you are saying that she become invisible, is not just invisible, is retrograde Venus. So understanding from the invisibility point of view that, however, it's not good for economy. From the Western approach, Venus retrograde is not good for economy, and it's lack of security because it's a ruler of Taurus. So it's like very much merge the both information that we are showing from each approach to justify not good for love and not good for, well, not good for new loves. Maybe also to start restructuring the relationships, because Venus is doing a square with Neptune. So it's a lot of confusion about values and about love and about expectations from each other, and we are going to revise it a lot. And you say that she converts itself in the underworld to be a sort of a witch character. That is what is more inviting of a betrayals or betrayals.
Secretive affairs.
And let's try to project it on the geopolitics, or what in the values and relationship between countries, because it's also sort of a relationship. So it's going to be secretive, maybe agreements between countries that, okay, China, US, or China speaking with Argentina, let's do this deal. I'll pay you all this beneath the surface.
Absolutely, very true. I believe you. Yeah.
I assume, with considering to the other planets I take in mind that are happening, and so very much uncertainty, and to be careful in the coming month, at least until mid of June. I must to be to admit that is pretty much supporting my charts to the market. To the phase that
but I have a question to you. Because then this is something that we may need also to see how it works together with the two philosophies, which is actually one, but doesn't matter. Let's see. When she becomes, I'll explain you the next part of her path, and you tell me how you see this economically. What she's doing when she becomes visible on 10 or 9 of June, she is becoming a morning star, and then she's Athena Pallas. Who is Athena Pallas? It's a male divinity. This is not female anymore. It's about wisdom, and you know what it is also about? It is about lofty beliefs, because Athena Pallas would not side with the winning party in a wartime, will side with the losing party in a wartime, and would also advise the kings how to win wars. So this is when she becomes visible as a morning star. If people want to see, I want to just make a bracket and then please tell me what you think, Osher. So what is she doing? When she will be a morning star, it would say that you should watch to see Venus on the eastern horizon, but still when it's still dark, before the sun rises, then you would see her brilliantly rising.
Okay, yeah. My models are showing that something is really coming in the last half of June, like a correction up. It's definitely from Venus retrograde timing going to start decline. I'm speaking about the stock market, S&P indication that I'm doing. And July become something else again, another peak as July is starting. But maybe it's just the sort of a strategy as a masculine feature of Venus being a rising sign that from the middle of June will do a sort of another correction and then something else to continue. And we should also refer, are you referring to Saturn and to Jupiter? Because they are also as we are speaking.
Of course. Oh, of course, definitely. Yeah.
So
but again, more important, I would see the invisibilities and when they become visible and how and what. Of course, also the retrograde. All this is important. Everything is important. Yeah.
You have in mind when Saturn will be visible or invisible?
He was. This was. I think he was invisible. It was. Let me remember. January. He entered Capricorn, and then I think he became visible. If I'm not mistaken, it was, I forgot, it was, I think, it was in January. When he's becoming invisible, he's taking away everything that he's representing. He's taking away old people. He's just taking them, and they just pass, they're gone. He's taking ruling figures. You hear that around this period, either somebody passed.
Just a second, I missed. You said you are speaking now about Saturn visibility? Timing?
Yeah, I'm just yeah. Oh, it was in the past. It was in the past.
January.
It was January, I think, yeah.
After when Saturn and Pluto met. So you are meaning that both were visible, Saturn and Pluto. Because
Pluto is very far. We don't see Pluto. I can't speak about his phases. I don't know.
Okay, so according to the Western astrology, it was on the just Saturn and Pluto met. So actually both should be, okay, visibility, no, because it's naked, as you say. But Saturn was visible from January. And then you say that he takes people, power, and...
No, he just taking, he can just, it means that people are dying in Saturn in age, old people. He's representing what? Poverty. Old people on the power positions, and these people will be influenced. Yeah,
that's what we saw. All people are in, and until when he's visible?
He was. Oh, he will be. I think it will be. We will have him now 1 year absolutely visible. I have to see again when he will be, but we have some time.
More poverty, more dying people, and more falling of structures.
It depends, because not with every phase Saturn is creating financial collapses. No, it's just that he's doing his role. He's coming, he's taking, and yes, it depends. We look at everything. Depends where is he? Is he exalted? Is he fallen? All these things to give detail. I'm just saying that when a planet is in, like Venus, look, Venus, she's Aphrodite. She's now going invisible. What is she taking? Love away. She's taking money away. What she's representing, she's taking it.
So this is exactly come aligned with the square that we're having this month and into June 2020, the square with Neptune that is telling you, if not money and not love, who you are, what you really have to give, and how you can create, remaining with the soul, with the spirit level, that we are so much dependent on the luxury of Venus, on the beauty, on the attraction, on the physicality, on the money. And without them applied, like today, shut off, a lockdown in the world. People have money, but cannot really buy things with this money to feel rich or something. So it's really focusing us on
Yeah.
what's really important in life and who you are and what you really have to give to others if it's not physical matter. And it's very much insecurity for a lot of people that are basing on external factors to be their well-being position.
But Osher, you said Neptune is a lie. He's a lie. But you're I see on your channel how you're awakening people.
But not just a lie. I said about our soul and our spirit.
Oh, yeah.
Our ability to see beyond the physicality, the divine.
Absolutely. That's the thing. We can be light too, only if we allow, right? Otherwise, Neptune can be brilliant.
Exactly. That's a good differentiation. Many people are remaining with expectation and with a promise of something, being optimist without really real facts or ability to connect, or others just working with a spirit, with an energy level, and could manifest and could realize things with it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's very much a time for slowing down because Saturn retrograde, Venus retrograde, Jupiter retrograde, and Mars will enter to Pisces. So this is about a time to slow down and to look inside and maybe to find the lies that you told to yourself that this and this and I want this, and maybe to see, or the lies that people told about myself. Always people told me, you are this, you are this. And now finding the truth, who I'm truly is, and not just what people conditioned me to be, or my role as, you know, we all putting roles and masks on ourselves, double meaning now. With so it's like finding
very true.
And it's very much anti-rebel right now, from now into the middle of the summer, Northern Hemisphere. With this all slow down and Mars in Pisces, is just time to go in and to awakening the consciousness, because it's not a time that people take power and rebel. It will come next. Now it's like going back, taking the power inside and knowing, first of all, love myself. Before you are conditioning it, love someone else, love yourself and change the right.
Absolutely.
Amazing. And then very important topics that we need to cover here. Eclipses.
Oh, yeah.
For people that are not familiar, we have lunar eclipse and solar eclipse, and we are measuring it according to the nodes of the moon. And the nodes of the moon are imaginative mathematical position where the moon will do the eclipse with the sun. And just a few weeks ago in May, as we are, a few days ago, the North Node moved to Gemini, and the South Node now within Sagittarius. Every 1.5 years is shift. It's showing also where the collective consciousness direction should be going to. And as it's now North Node in Gemini, the focus of the collective consciousness is to find facts and truth, and not as the Sagittarius point of view of belief or of what the gurus in the TV or media say, but what you are connecting the dots to with your own ability. So we understand that in the general scenario, the next eclipses will advance us to activate this North Node in Gemini, the ability to reveal more truth. And it's starting with Venus in retrograde, that will disconnect us a little bit from money condition and love and beauty in order to connect with our beauty and with our inner wealth. So we are going to discuss a little bit, we will dedicate to it something much more profound, on June 21st, exactly first day of the summer, a very interesting day to happen such a intensity. Also the sun solstice, also the lunar eclipse will happen as a full moon in Sagittarius. The moon will be near to the south node, and the sun will be in the north node. It's going to illuminate on all the big hopes, dreams, and expectations that we had. And also Mars and Neptune will be pretty much connected this time, which may create a lot of, I see it very malicious. Mars and Neptune is very much criminality. It's hacking. It's very much bad work. What, first of all, you are seeing from what you already watched for this eclipse to come in June 21st?
You know, in general, we don't have every year 6 eclipses. 6 eclipses is a lot. It's a heavy load.
Not 6, 4 we should usually have.
You have, yeah, but this year there are 6 because you had in January, you have, what, you know, the total, I mean, for the year 2020. So it's a lot. I mean, this is considered heavy year, and we know it's heavy, right? So, sidereally, the eclipse is happening on the axis of Capricorn, Cancer. And of course, this is going to give importance on Saturn and Jupiter. And of course, what is Saturn and Jupiter together? You know, we know in both philosophies is the same thing. Saturn is either the poverty and also or the rulers. Jupiter is this beautiful, philosophical, lofty, gorgeous belief system of people, you know, in a very lofty, pure way. And when they're together, they're not bad. In Babylon, they would call them the two brothers. So together, I don't think they're bad. But because it's happening in Capricorn and it's going to be eclipsed, I am a bit, of course, there will be many things that we still need to look at, but just
a second, because Saturn and Jupiter will meet in January 2020. They will meet later, in 6 months from now. And you are already speaking about them 6 months before?
They are in, right now, they are with some distance. They're not making exact conjunction. You mean the exact conjunction, but they're in a wide conjunction in sidereal Capricorn, which is still exchange of energies. It's in December, it's going to be much more powerful, but now they still exchange energies already. So this will be eclipsed. So what will be eclipsed? Eclipses were considered also in the Vedic astrology, by the way, as something dramatic. They would, it's like a gate which is opening for the evil to enter earth. Even, you know, the Vedic astrologers would say during eclipse, don't even expose your food or your water to the eclipsed sun or moon, because these are energies. They would say, stay at home, contemplate. The ancient astrologers would go and watch. Honestly, Osher, I'm not watching eclipses. I'm hiding from them.
Wow. Yeah. I only watched lively. I watched it in Tel Aviv, the one of summer last year. It was amazing. It really felt like a very dramatic movie. I was with a good astrologer friend watching it.
See, you feel the energies as dramatic, right? You feel the energies dramatically. Yeah.
And you told me that your father on the same day of the...
Yeah. Imagine his ascendant was eclipsed, and I was calling all friends and people that I knew that had the ascendant of my father, and I was warning them, don't watch, stay at home quietly. And I forgot to say to my father not to do anything, and he was fixing something at home, and the machine jumped off his hands and cut his fingers, and it was a heavy surgery. Now he's okay, but it was a nightmare. And it happened in the moment of the peak of the eclipse. Can you imagine? So I don't believe eclipses can be seen as something benefic, unfortunately.
And each one should look where actually the eclipse is happening, on what axis of his own chart, to understand where the evil, according to the sidereal point of view, is going to be affected. So if someone is on the axis of relationship and personal desires, should focus on what is maybe bringing to the world.
Yeah. So how I see it, just to tell you, it can be good. Hidden operations will happen, I believe, maybe financial, because Jupiter and Saturn are considered together royal conjunction, which always impacts somehow the finances of the world. These will be hidden operations. I don't like it. I don't like this eclipse happening and involving both planets together.
Do you see this eclipse of June 21st, 2020 to be something more severe or more or similarly to any other eclipse you remember? You have anything in mind?
Osher, I'm not prepared. I haven't looked at them yet. I know the dates, I know which axis, but I haven't looked into detail to calculate.
Yeah. Actually, I was very fascinated to look on the location of this eclipse because it's going to cover the area from some area of Egypt going like east to Saudi Arabia and until China, area of Hong Kong, including the area of Wuhan. And of course, it will be visible a few degrees to the north and south from this area, including India and Iran and all those areas. So it seems that it's very much worthy to look on this, some countries on this axis, specifically China and Saudi Arabia, that are pretty much playing a role in the current economy we are having, to see what is happening in their own natal chart. Now, of course, in China, are you there?
Oh. Yes, something happened with the internet. We were frozen. Please repeat about this area you were saying. We were frozen. Yeah.
I watched you. I hope that because I'm recording it, so people.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. It's however, it's just a pass on the line of Saudi Arabia, Iran, and China. So very interesting to look on the country's natal chart on this area to understand what may be unfold. And China is continuing to unfold a very major transit. Also with this eclipse to come, and what started in last January, Saturn and Pluto, when met in 22 degrees in Capricorn, according to the Western approach, conjuncted exactly the Jupiter, the natal Jupiter of China, which is located in the 12th house. So this was so amazing to see that something huge will come from China. Now, to my experience and with what I look to people natal chart, when Pluto is conjuncting the Jupiter of a person or of a place, it's sort of a death of someone close. I saw some cases that the mother of someone, even, it's not, some people are going to the moon. So I wondered, in even 1.5 years before that, I told people where the next crisis will derive from. If in the 2000 it was the subprime, it was the dot-com crash, and the 2007 the subprime, what will be the next one? And I say that is going to come from China, without understanding what even source. But exactly in January, this conjunction really brought here something. And I said, like, who is the mother of China? And I said, something, the US, because this is sort of, but it wasn't just Pluto alone. It was Pluto, Saturn, which is a new world order definition, specifically in Capricorn. And to conjunct the Jupiter of China, it seems that something is really going to be transformed from there. Also, when I look to the natal chart of Spain, the last February was horrific, that actually I decided not to go there as I'm usually there. And I saw that also during this time, the North Node was exactly on the same axis of the moon of Spain, what indicated such of horrible corona, death, and panic there. But it also seems that Spain is going, I just jumped to Spain, but because this is some hidden correlation, that is going to be very awful economy happening there already from the end of this year, and maybe a correlato sort of effect like happened in Argentina back in 2001, that maybe they will, I don't know, they will change the status of the European Union or something, I don't know. But this is still interesting things to come from there. The Saudi Arabia is important because they are holding the best important resources of oil for the agreement of the US to hold the value of the USD, even that we understand that they even ignore this agreement despite of the decline of the US, of the petrodollar by printing money. So years ago, it stopped the relationship with gold, and now it seems to be disconnected from oil. So money become out of thin air, like nothing that you just can print. People are thinking about what is real value. We're speaking Bitcoin to be a sort of an option, to be out of the system. Still is very hard to people to accept, like invisible money. What do I do with it? How do I manage with this? Maybe this is why it's also supported that by the time that Venus will be invisible / retrograde, I see the crypto market is get benefited. So it's also about the insecurity or hedging or people protecting, something like this.
Osher, how you see? Oh, sorry. Continue. It's a bracket I wanted to open. Yeah.
Just last thing. The next eclipse in December this year, 2020, will cover. It will be a full eclipse that will cover Argentina, Chile, and will be visible until Venezuela. So things are going to be in next year to be related to South America, and to my assumptions, is going to be related to food. And I think that is going to be a positive activation, because also the eclipse are doing like you are hiding the camera from the sun tack and then refocus on something, and then it's reactive energy. So the reactivation of the energy in South America, specifically in Argentina, that has so much free lands, and seems like some difficulties of achieving food, specifically in Europe or in places that are very much high population, that everybody are continue with the chain of the trucks and all the supermarkets chain to build this. Will be interesting. And also to remember that Venezuela is the most, is one of the biggest oil producers, even that is out of the game. So also China can do some agreement with Venezuela to change the structure, how energy is rounding around. And Russia is connected to this too. So definitely we are in a phase of new world order. Now ask me what you wanted to say.
Yes, it is in the same line of thoughts. You mentioned crypto. And what about this square from Uranus towards Saturn? How is this influencing crypto? Because it's a complex and they hate each other, Uranus and Saturn, you know.
Yeah, but Saturn will be debilitated because Saturn will be in Aquarius. So Saturn, as we just tasted it now, governments, social distancing, and locking people, like the rulers are because Aquarius, the sign of the people. Now, to do in a square with Uranus is like Saturn in the house of Aquarius, which ruled by Uranus, and Uranus squaring it, seems that the people are going to have a better strength. That if we will connect together, and with all the transits that are coming now, that we need to come into the truth and to find truth and to see that we were light and we are listening to people that seems to us very honored and very respectful.
Yeah,
and
seems.
And professor that we are adoring, he said, the stupidity for the fact that a lot of people are going to discover, like how they are protecting our health by vaccines or whatever ways that they are doing, or how they are managing our economy that makes us slaves of a system. Once people will get awake that we don't need a lot of physical things, meaning we have control on our wealth. We are managing we have the crypto that we can manage in a private way. We memorize it, it's invisible. We learn to disconnect from the visibility condition. Like, you know, it's very typical stigmatism in California style, that people judging you according to your car or according to
yeah.
So all this condition of physical criticism is going to be irrelevant, because we will have the ability we will arrive to a place that we will honor and we will appreciate, we will value in other things. How much knowledge you have, how much intelligence, how much even crypto you have without even showing it. There are some entrepreneur communities years ago I read about them, of young people that decided they bought very cheap crypto at the beginning, and right now, even now it's even more with the price of Bitcoin. But even in 2016, when it was already 5,000 or 4,000, if I remember correctly, they still had a lot of money, but they didn't want to convert it back to dollars because it's sort of, and they started living in different places that are more gadgety, young people, community-wise, and having the power to create many things with a wealth of money that they could, I don't know exactly. But it's not specifically one example, it's just giving the spirit of a change, that when people will start to trust each other and to connect with the technology in a wiser way, not just using the internet. The internet actually is a tool that built for the rulers to control us. But so they bring us machines, they bring us Facebook, they bring us things. So if we remain with this like zombie, you are serving their first target. But if you are using this technology to your favor, to study things, to start searching yourself, to connect with new people, to connect with new opportunities, and to transfer information between people, it's already the power of us. So this is the conflict, actually, of people against governments. I will start speaking about it always since last December, that people will need to break the laws, because people always, you know, the end of the medieval time or the Inquisition time, people are afraid to break the rule or being not a good Christian or other. As today, people are afraid of breaking the rule, of not going to jail, of not this. People will arrive to a moment by the fact that we're going to unveil as masses that I'm not going to do this. I'm not stupid. I'm going to break the rule and to take the risk for liberty. And this is
absolutely
where we're going.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. Was lovely. I think that it was enough for this first we did.
Absolutely. Thank you, Osher.
You want to, thank you. I learned also a lot from you. You want to add anything and how people can find about your job? And,
Thank you. Well, I believe my website, you can just list it under this video, or my channel. And yes, I will do the same for you. Thank you.
But you want to add anything? And
well, what to add? I can add that I see that we reach similar conclusions with two different
process.
Well, two different, it's all astrology. It all has the roots from Babylon or before. We don't know how far before. And yes, it's becoming a very harmonious combination, and we can explore things together and see where we arrive. And we can watch, well, not literally see and watch the eclipses, but see what we can see on the. What I do is I look at the website of NASA. I see from which side the moon is starting to be darkened. This matters. I see the color of the moon, for example. This matters when predicting. And after that, after the eclipse, I predict. And also, of course, I do what you do. I look at the shadows, where the shadow of the eclipse is going to pass, which countries are going to be victims. Obviously, this also matters. And another thing is you divide the days into watches and the night into watches, and you see in which watch the eclipse takes place, and it also gives certain meanings. But we can very harmoniously apply the two methods.
Another question that I must to hear something even small about your approach about Mars retrograde that will take part around September.
Oh, this worries me. This worries me tremendously because Mars, he's not only retro, but he reaches some degrees and he becomes stationary and retro. He needs to go, I think, 100 something degrees from the sun and so. But then at one point, when there will be this exact opposition, he's getting a phase, and this is happening in sidereal Pisces. One second. Pisces, yes, I know. And what is sidereally? Sidereally, yeah. For you, it will be in Aries, I believe. It will be the next sign. Aries, yeah.
In Aries.
But you know what is happening? You have this code phase, which is called cosmic setting, which is a phase which is called God sees God. Like one God is watching at another God. But what is happening? You look at the horizon, and at one point you see the sun rising, and on the other hand, you see Mars setting on the west. And this is symbolically very bad. This makes Mars in a fast cosmic setting, and he can be evil because he's like dying.
What date you are seeing it? Because I'm watching from August 10th.
If you give me a moment, I can tell you. I forgot the date. It was somewhere in the autumn.
In August,
when you said,
it's still direct, but it will be in 22 degrees, squaring exactly when Saturn and Pluto met. Then it will come back to this degree, but as a retrograde planet. And back then, it will be back exactly in this place 2 months after, in October 10th. And October 10th is important because another planets are stopping to retrograde. And something very strong activation of what the New World Order started. So,
yeah, same things. Very much like what you're saying. I can tell you the dates, but they will be the same, similar like the days.
August, October.
No, it's later. It's September, October. It was. I have to find it. Just don't remember by heart, but it was when he will be retrograde. I will tell you. Let me tell you. Okay, take this. I will tell you approximately the date, and then we probably. This is the timing which worries me, actually, to tell you honestly. What are they gonna come up with again? This is the timing which.
This will be a very big, because Saturn will be in Capricorn, very strong government. So they could decide very bad law on people. They could start, I don't know, like it's sort of a dictatorial possibility.
Yeah, I know.
That they could do, I don't know, it's like very militant. And Aries, and according to Western, Mars will be 6 months stuck in the sign of Aries. So it will be very even hard to initiate new activity, to feel freedom, to express what you really want. It's a very big bite here.
But I know, terrible.
October 10th is a portal. It's a very important day. Pluto will be in 22. Mars will square Pluto, and the nodes will be in 22. This is a very important day, October 10th.
Exactly, October 10th, you have the opposition Sun, Mars, and Mars retrograde. I found the date, which I wanted to tell you, and Mars is in the fast cosmic setting, which is bad.
Yeah. And this is 1 month before the election in the US. So very interesting to see also in the U.S.
Did you look at the charts of Trump and what was his opponent? What was his name?
Biden?
Biden. You know what? Very interestingly, I looked at the charts. I didn't make yet a very, very detailed analysis.
Biden seems to be a winner.
No, very low, exactly.
Very low.
Very, very, very small chance compared to the powerful chart of Trump.
Of course.
I hope so.
Trump will win with the candidates and what is possible to see. But it will be very, very awkward because the election will happen when Saturn is in Capricorn, and the nomination of the new currency event will happen when Saturn will be in Aquarius. So it's like will be two musics of this configuration of the old way of government to a new structure. And
you know, another thing, you mentioned eclipses. I watched them. I saw the charts of the eclipses a little, still on a bit superficial level. I need to go deeper into them. But what worried me is one of the eclipses, I think the November eclipse, is conjoining the moon of Trump.
Again?
One of the eclipses is happening on the moon of Trump.
Listen, I'm looking right now on Trump natal chart. October 10th. And this is really scary. I hope that he will be very well kept. Exactly on this day, the North Node, it seems supportive in a way, but this is a portal of evil. It could be an assassination sort of alert. The South Node, I hope that not, because I'm going to have something similar in the next month, but not exactly like this. The North Node will conjunct his sun. Okay, the North Node of the moon will conjunct his sun and will oppose his moon. Okay, because he bore full moon in Gemini. Moon is Sagittarius, exactly as the lunar eclipse of June 26th, of June 21st.
21, yeah, exactly.
And I see on this day of October 10th, Chiron to conjunct in the 8th house the asteroid Aries. That this seems to be painful. Same time, the Sun will conjunct his Chiron in the 2nd house. So this is a sort of an attempt of damaging. Also, it's interesting because the Trump natal chart is representing the U.S. situation.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I would not enter to this too deeply, but this is a turning point. This is a turning point because the North Node completing a cycle. So this is a new phase to start in this period between October and November.
Let's hope it's a good new phase. Yeah,
it should be, because the people right now are the ingredient that need to unify power. If people continue being passive and waiting that someone will organize the things for me, the system that will do the laws, you need to go to yourself, and in order to coordinate with other people. This is our protection time, people collaborating together and becoming strong against any law against individuals. And this is right now the call that will culminate us and will take us and will unveil to us lies and lies and lies in the coming months, until this square of Uranus-Saturn. Because this moment will be the moment that people are pushing the wall and succeeding. Because right now they are going to strengthening strongly on us.
Oh yeah.
And a very divining point in the chart.
But you know, we spoke with you last time. Osher, remember, it's a cycle, and according to Hermes, what is happening? That we start a new era. You know the eras, like you have the Great Era. The one complete tour of the precession cycle, and then you divide it into 12, and you have 12 mini eras, which each one is like 2000 something years. We know that as astrologers. But here, what is Hermes saying? He's saying, you start a new era, like everyone is expecting. We in 300 something year, we're going to enter the era of Aquarius. So we're starting a new era, clean, clear. And we will be starting as a golden era, golden age, when everything is perfect, like perfection. People will be kind, the land will be fruitful, the weather will be beautiful, people will be happy. It's also so beautiful era. And then immediately with the start of the new year, there is decay is starting, destruction from moment zero of the new golden era. And then you complete the era, and then the darkness is overwhelming humanity and earth. Darkness.
I want to understand. You spoke about the golden age or the golden era started when?
With the beginning of every cycle, which will start at the beginning of sidereal astronomical Aquarius, which will be approximately 360 years to wait.
I know. But now we are in the last phase of the previous one. Yeah, okay. I thought that you spoke about something more.
Yeah. So what is this now? If we take that now we're in end of era, end of times, not like we're dying. No, end of era, end of times. Then obviously we're going through some darkness, but always universal law is always that the light will prevail. And then we're starting another golden era with the light ruling and prevailing. And at the very beginning, the decay is starting, because we humans always cause decay wherever we go, you know.
Okay, got it. Okay, was nice speaking with you.
Thank you, Osher.
Krasi Atasio. I said it correctly? Krasi Atasio.
Yes, it's correct.
You will wait a moment with me, but I'm saying bye to everybody, and we see you in the next video.
Thank you, Osher. Bye, everybody.